Hey, it's Matt the Master and my good friends, the Button Mappers, who are really great people. They asked the question, the community question, what's better, the piece of shit PlayStation 1 or the Nintendo 64? And from a biased perspective, I'm gonna say the 64 because it was my first console, and because my favorite way to play video games is local multiplayer, and because my favorite genres of games are racing and 3D platformers. Now I'm gonna tell you why right now. That from a non-biased perspective, I still think that the 64 is much better than the PS1.
I'm the best!
But right here I'm gonna mix biased and non-biased. The multiplayer, because I know not everybody wants to play local multiplayer, some people want to play alone. And the local multiplayer, Nintendo 64, is way better than PS1.
Okay.
PS1 fans will give you a long list of multiplayer games on the 64, even if they don't like the 64. And I love local multiplayer games like Mario Kart 64, 007, The World Is Not Enough. There's so many games, and that's what I love to play, multiplayer. And when it comes to the 3D platformers, the 64 is just, it can't be fucked with. That's the best for 3D platformers console ever. I mean, you got games on there like Banjo-Kazooie, which to me is the best 3D platformer ever. And there's just so many. Honestly, the first 3D platformer, the first game for the 64, Super Mario 64, I think that game, even though there was 3D platformers which were better than that on the 64, I don't think any game on the PS1 as 3D platformer can fuck with Super Mario 64. No Crash Bandicoot, no nothing. And racing games as well, dude. The racing games on the 64 was much better. And that's, you know, I love racing games. As far as the RPGs, I know that you guys are gonna say the RPGs, and from a non-bias, it's true. The PS1 is way better. From a biased, I don't care about RPGs, you know? And I think that anybody who's gonna say the PS1, or almost anybody, is better than the 64, it's because RPGs is your thing, you know, and it's not my thing. And that's why you like the PS1 better. Non-biased argument.
Okay.
Nintendo 64, you know, people give it flack. PS1 has so many games, and the 64 has barely any games. It's about 300. The 64 was really more about quality, and the PS1 was more about quantity. That's why games on the 64, such as Banjo-Kazooie, Zelda Ocarina of Time, F-Zero X, all these games can make an argument for the top 10 greatest games ever. And there's no game on the PS1 that does that. I mean, you got Final Fantasy VII, the best game on the PS1. It's a great game for sure, but the backgrounds in that game are awful. They're horrendous. I know that PS1 people love to say that the backgrounds are so good, but that's only because you're squinting your eyes really hard when you're looking to try to fool yourself into thinking those backgrounds are good. The 64 handles the backgrounds very well. People are gonna say, oh, the space on the 64 games, that they don't have any space. Well, look at Final Fantasy VII. Just like a couple of other games for the PS1, it came with 3 discs. It came with 3 discs, dude. Imagine if a 64 game came with 3 cartridges. You people would be saying, wow, look at Nintendo, they need 3 cartridges. Pathetic. Come on, man. Yeah, that's my response. And my closing statement, dude, I don't know why the PS1 has 2 controller ports, dude, because it should only have 1, bro, because the multiplayer on that thing is embarrassing, dude. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I know that this is longer than it should be, but you should check out the Button Mappers. Those are my guys. And yeah, thanks for watching, and rock and roll. Go play 64, don't play PS1, never.